the West will activate Poland against Russia. This is a prophecy of a Christian Orthodox elder recently, claiming that NATO will make the provocation. The message of the elder saying NATO will make a provocation to blame the Russians, and in the end NATO will use Poland in something that will enrage the Russians, and Poland will receive a strong bite from the Russians, he said. 24 hours a day, all the media is spreading fake news about the war in Ukraine. No media is dealing with those who have planned a world war, but they continue to flood us with fake news about this war. The globalist hawks wanted Russia to invade in Ukraine is part of their plan to destroy the whole world. First, America. These hawks do not believe in God nor in the motherland. They exploit America as much as they could, and now they will destroy it completely, as well as Russia, the European Union, almost the whole world. This is the work of Satan. He is behind vaccinations, degeneration, economic collapse, religious sellout, and ultimately nuclear war and the destruction of humanity. And yet some media, such as the New York Times, warned from 1997 that, quote, NATO expansion would be the most fatal mistake of American policy, end quote. This is also exactly what Henry Kissinger was telling us, and he still is. Now, at the same time, the Guardian newspaper called Ukraine the most corrupt nation in Europe. And according to a poll conducted by Ernst & Young, they're the international auditors, certified public accountants. The poll conducted by Ernst & Young in 2017, experts considered Ukraine to be the 9th most corrupt country in the world. The elder, a long time ago, told us, when they hurt Russia very, very much, then she will come down. She meaning it's a feminine pronoun, I Rosia. So when Russia comes down, and what I told you a few days ago will happen, actions that God does not want, end quote. Is the world these days like the waves of the ocean and not of the sea? It will be like the waves that reach the heights of the mountains, and when they come down, they touch the bottom of the sea. So will the world be, so will the moments be, he said. Now, I don't know what that means exactly. Today, Kherson chaos, Russians crushed 4 furious Ukrainian attacks. Today, large movements of American and Polish forces with tanks on the border of Belarus and Ukraine. We know that Belarus is joining Russia against Ukraine. Belarus is just north of the border of Ukraine. So the writer says here, my spiritual father, my elder, has been warning us for a long time that Poland will do something that will enrage the Russians and then suffer the consequences. My elder says an evolution that will start from the borders of Poland, Ukraine. Westerners will activate Poland against Russia on the border. So today I read an article by V. Kapulis that the largest dam in the country, country of Ukraine, with 18 million cubic meters, is expected to explode, burying Kherson and 80 more settlements underwater. All countries are on alert because Ukraine blames Russia and vice versa. Russian TV spoke of the Ukrainians firing a nuclear bomb at Nikolaev. According to the Americans, quote, Russia will blow up the dam to save the Russian forces in Kherson. Then they will blame Kiev, Ukraine, and detonate a nuclear bomb in Nikolaev, end quote. So you can see one side is blaming the other. Who knows what's going to be happening? God forbid they're going to use nuclear. God forbid. Do you remember what the elder told us? Quote, when they hurt Russia very, very much, then it will come down. And what I told you a few days ago will happen, actions that God does not want, end quote. What does that mean exactly? Now, the most likely is that the war in Ukraine will end in bloodshed and then world events begin. Putin to Vilkin, bury the Ukrainians in Kherson. If the Kakhoshaya Dam is hit, about 70% of stations, substations, and thermoelectric plants, etc., have been put out of operation due to the power being out in Ukraine. Okay, 70%. The American empire has reached its expiration date, too late to stop. The UK collapsed as Prime Minister Liz Truss resigns after 45 days. The UK has become a laughingstock of the world with what's going on there with their politics. Nigel Farage has come out saying that it's a global coup that took her down. and it's the globalists trying to do everything around the world, hurting everybody, Nigel Farage says. So the pound has collapsed 40% over the year. It's clear that the global monetary system is destined to collapse to bring in the new global reserve currency. Russia destroys all the points of Ukrainian grid, keeps the electricity running except for the last critical points of the grid. They will put them out before they start their to plunge the whole Ukraine into darkness for maybe months. That means no electricity, no heat, no cell phone service, no internet, and in many cases no water. We have lines of blocks of people lined up to get water. Can you imagine? High precision strikes Ukraine's strategic energy facilities led to massive blackouts and forced Ukraine to suspend electricity exports to Europe. So from Kiev giving electricity to Europe, that's going to be cut. So more energy crisis in Europe because of the less energy there as well. Polish intelligence sources believe that by winter, the Russians will reach the Dnieper River and that Russia is not interested in land beyond the Dnieper. They also note that the EU has begun an emergency evacuation of its embassies from Kiev. The hawks of globalization, the dark forces, the demonic entities of the satanic plans, thousands of years ago, the destruction of humanity, and they follow them with reverence, but today, seeing that they are too late and their plans did not have the results they expected, they will go for global destruction. The New World Order wants a world war so badly, it seems that it's not working out for them in Ukraine at the moment, so they're preparing for the next phase, which is Middle East, the Eastern Mediterranean, Turkish attack on Greece, in the hope to develop a world war, and this will eventually happen very soon. In 2014, the Washington Post published an op-ed by Henry Kissinger stating that Ukraine should not join either side, Russia or the West, if it is to survive and thrive. Rather, it should act as a bridge between them. Kissinger is in particular argued that the West should understand that Ukraine can never be just a foreign country for Russia. He even explains that Ukraine was part of Russia for centuries and their histories were intertwined. And in March of this year, the elder said, "We will see great surprises until the end of the year and some months from next year," meaning the beginning of 2023. So this is a prophecy of the elder, the Christian Orthodox spiritual counselor of this man who wrote this article. I've translated it for you from a Greek article. Please leave your comments and thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.